Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Miss Faye, and this is my world. All right, we're going to talk today about things you eat. Things you eat, people. Listen, you know, you don't have to be fat. In today's world, you can lose the weight. All you need is the desire to. Once you have the desire that you want to be smaller, you can do it because the intent is what motivates you. But a lot of people, they have, they think about it, but they don't have the strength to pull it through. You know, uh, it's funny because I see so many young women who are way overweight. Why? Why? There's no reason for you to be like that. All you got to do is change your mind. If you change your mind, you can change your life. And you can lose all the weight that you want to lose. And you don't have to kill yourself doing it either. On my plan, it I call it the sugar diet. There are a lot of sugar diets out there. But mine shows results because I'm on it. All right. And I've lost, uh, I started off saying that I lost 10 pounds of belly fat. But you know what? I'm still trying to flatten it down, so just a few more pounds and I'll be where I want to be. And plus I walk every day. And what walking does is just tone you down. When you're losing weight, you don't want it to just be hanging on you, where a lot of women feel like they need to go get plastic surgery to get that, fixed. I didn't want to do that. So I move my body. And plus, if you've been watching my videos, I play pickleball too. I get out there and move around. I walk every day. And it's no big deal. It's just that I walk out of my house to this little neighborhood park. I'll walk around and then I'll come back home. And some days, if I'm feeling great, I'll walk around twice. And some days, if I'm feeling fantastic, I'll even run a little bit. I absolutely uh, love being active. I always have, even from a young girl. I was, swimmer and runner and a lot of things. But when we get older, we just feel like, what the heck? And especially after we get married or we have children. I've had 4 children. So don't think that I haven't been there. I've had 4 children, but I try to watch my weight throughout my entire life. I believe now that I am the smallest that I've ever been, but I've always wanted to be this weight. Just didn't know how to get there. Because on a lot of diet plans, you can lose the weight to a certain point, but after a while you just get exhausted with it and you want to eat. You want to eat your regular foods. But people, you know, I heard a saying years ago, and it is true. If you eat fat, you'll be fat. If you eat fat, you'll be fat. And the thing is, most of our diets are full of fat. Most of the foods that you crave are full of fat, you know? And if you spend your money on eating out, that's no good for you because you don't know how people are preparing your food. You don't know what's in it. When I started this plan, I started cooking more for myself, not really eating out. Plus, I read labels. You gotta read labels before you put it in your mouth, okay? Because unfortunately, a lot of the manufacturers put things in your food that is less expensive but is harmful to you, okay? And this FDA, whatever, you can go by that if you want to, but that's your free will. But the thing about it is, lose weight and you can change your life. People actually will treat you differently when you're not fat. When you're not fat. Even men will treat you differently when you're not fat. Okay, they act like, you so lovable and all this meat they absolutely love, but they treat you with less respect because in their minds, maybe you don't respect yourself, that you just let your body go. Now, I have noticed that a lot of women, when you get married, you just throw that diet book away. You feel like you don't need it anymore. You've already met your goal, and your goal was to acquire a husband. But that doesn't mean he's gonna stay with you when you just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And even if he gets bigger and bigger and bigger, it's the same thing. But people realize that you are getting bigger because of the foods that you're eating. That was a time when the population as a whole, people were small. If you look at pictures from 1950s, 60s, or whatever, those women had little tiny waists, very small. They had those little thin belts with the little buckle they don't even make those anymore because people can't wear that. People like, listen, get away from that. I want to talk about my sugar diet here because it can save your life in a number of ways, even if you are a sickly person. And if you're sick, 9 times out of 10 is because of your diet. Diet makes a lot of people sick. You're eating things that are not healthy for your body. You're eating it because it tastes good and you have a craving for it, but it could be killing you. On this sugar diet, I have heard people say that it helps people with diabetes. It certainly helps people with high blood pressure because what you're eating will bring that pressure down where you won't need medication. Now, on this plan, in tier 1, all you're going to be eating is really fruit and sugar. Now this is the tricky part. Nobody believes that you can lose weight on eating sugar and fruit. A lot of times today the fruit is not as sweet as it was unless you grow it in your own garden. But when you go to the supermarket, it might not be as sweet. I'm in the north, but in the south, maybe it's still sweet. It's great. But you stay on the plan of eating fruit and fruit juices. No starch, no protein, no fat. And you eat that day and night until you get down to the weight that you want to get to. All right? If you want to lose 20 pounds, you eat fruit until you lose the 20 pounds. Now, sometimes people find that difficult to just eat fruit all the time. So in tier 2 is where your starches are. And it has been suggested that you eat basically from tier 1. But maybe once a week, you want to slide off and eat something from tier 2. Tier 2 is your starches. Now, try to stay away from those potatoes. They're pretty heavy. But what about rice? What about cauliflower rice? What about, and you know what? That would kind of break the fruit thing for a little while, just for a day or two, and then go right back to the fruit because the fruit and the sugar is what revs up your metabolism and it will go very strong and very fast and the weight will start dropping off. Now, when this happens, I recommend you move your body. Don't just sit there and be bony, you know, do something. I walk around. Now, I don't go to the gym because, I never was a gym person. I don't care about that restrictive kind of activity. I want to be free. So I walk, I do whatever I do. I work out here in the garden, and all of that helps to tone your body. What I'm trying to get you to realize, you can change your life by losing weight. There are too many women out here way overweight. And there's too many women out here who are opting for surgery, you see, to shave off some of that fat that they've been piling on. Well, that's not healthy either. It's better to change the way that you eat. Now, for me, I've always been a meat and bread person all my life. So when I let meat go, and it's been a couple of years when I finally let the meat go. And listen, I like meat as well as anybody. Steaks, burgers, ribs, the whole 9 yards. But I let that go, but I didn't let the seafood go. All right, I'm still struggling with whether I want to go back to the seafood or not. I'm trying to let it go. All right, because meat is meat. And the thing that I have a problem with meat is that you are eating the energies of these creatures when you eat meat. Now, many of the animals that are slaughtered for your convenience or whatever, they are terrified. And you are eating that energy, putting it right into your energy. And that's why a lot of people are living in fear and have all these reactions to things because you are putting that energy, that traumatic energy from that animal into your body. People, this is all spiritual. The quicker that you understand these powers, the better that your life can become. All right. And if you're on your spiritual path, you definitely need to be on a plan like this that will help you move away from meat. I've always encouraged to let that meat go, period. All right. Now, one other thing. When I started this plan, like I told you, I was a meat eater. And when I let the meat go, then I was a fish eater. Fish and maybe a few vegetables, not really. I wasn't really into vegetables. But now on this plan, in tier 1, you can have all fruit. And I suggest you hold the vegetables off until tier 2. And I'll tell you why. A lot of the sugar diets would say, in tier 1, eat vegetables and their fruit. But I found that the vegetables slows your metabolism down a bit because of the fiber in the vegetables. It's just the fiber, all right, that, you'll still lose weight, but it'll just slow it down, all right? So if you're eating your fruit for a whole week, you're just going to eat fruit and drink fruit juices, anything that's fruit and sugar you're going to have. But you can't go out and get a Snickers bar or anything like that because, they have starch and all kind of stuff in it. But you eat pure fruit and granulated sugar. Now, you can use honey or, agave or whatever other kind of sweeteners that you like. But basically, it's fruit and sugar in tier 1. Stay there until you get the weight you want to be. All right. And believe me, it will come down fast. Now, in tier 2, add in your vegetables. All right. So for maybe once a week, you can add in some vegetables and maybe you can sneak in a little rice with them or something like that in tier 2. but go right back to tier 1 when you see the scale coming back up. You got to be in tier 1 for the scale to go down. Now, the scale will go down in tier 2, but it's slow. And even in tier 3 is slower because in tier 3, you have starch and protein in tier 3. All right, so usually I leave those tiers for maintenance. All right, so ladies, I hope I gave you enough for this video, and I'll be back again to talk to you about it because weight is very important. People treat you differently when you are small. Okay, that's just a mere fact. I guess because in today's society, you don't really see people who are small anymore. Everybody's big and everybody's complaining. Everybody's going to the doctors trying to, get well when all you got to do is stop eating toxic foods. I hope you understand the message today, and I really hope that it helps someone. Now, for my ebook, I'll leave a link in the description where you can get it. And I advise all of you to get a copy of my ebook. Doesn't cost you much. It's less than a Starbucks cup of coffee, but it will help to start changing your mind about food. And it will also get you started on this plan. Okay? And I also wanted to bring your attention that I will be coming out with a recipe book of the foods that I eat and how they're prepared and things like that to help you along on this plan. All right? And the foods in my cookbook are really some are in tier 1. I have a lot of smoothies in tier 1, that kind of thing. But in tier 2, it will go to how you would prepare meals. All right? So you don't have to guess. Is this right? I've done the research for you. I've already looked at the labels, know what to put in, how to put it in, and all of that. And all of that will be in my upcoming cookbook. So in the next month or so, look for that ebook. I'll let you know. But in the meantime, get my ebook. This is my starter book. This will give you the whole inside scoop on this sugar diet. Now, I know there are a lot of sugar diets on there, but I'm going to recommend the one that works for me. Okay, people, let me back up so you can kind of see me a little bit. You see? I'm very happy with it. I feel great. I look great. And I'm not starving. I hope you understand the message today, and I really hope that it helps someone. I want to thank you so much for supporting this channel. Now, those of you who may have a question that you'd like for me to answer, my email address is in the description. I wish you all the very best and happiness, and I really hope to see you next time.